attorneys that are on YouTube that are giving you the information about this and helping you form your opinions on this, they don't have any idea what's going to be coming tomorrow.
This could be the case where the judge is like, I don't even know what this is.
What you thought you knew versus what you actually know aren't going to be the same.
Like, how is any of what's in this introduction relevant? And I still can't figure that out.
The people that are reporting on this, they're not focusing on the right things, and I think that's intentional.
Keep thinking that you're in the right. Apparently there's no one in your life that is telling you that you are wrong.
Probably because it's not relevant.
And it's just...
Because now it's like you're deleting a lot of evidence. Why are you doing that? Why are you deleting a lot of evidence? You said that you were right.
I'm sick of you telling me I can't delete because I'll delete it all day long if it's not related. And you have no business to tell me. None.
You said that you were not in the wrong. You said that everything that you were doing was correct. You had the facts, you had the documents, you had the receipts, all of that.
And I'm thinking that tomorrow things will get better.
Before we get into the video, please do not send hate to anybody mentioned in this video. All opinions are my own and opinions are not facts. Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel. This is a part 6 of my Without a Crystal Ball series. This is all of the drama and tea surrounding the Tati Westbrook lawsuit that she filed against Katie Joy from Without a Crystal Ball. And yes, you heard that right. This is a part 6. So that means there is a part 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And if you have not watched those videos, I highly recommend watching them before you get into this video. And I will link them all in the description box down below if you are interested in starting from the beginning. And lastly, before we get deep into the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. Turn on all post notifications so you don't miss any uploads in the future. Now, where we left off in part 5, Katie had uploaded a video onto her YouTube channel that was titled Am I Okay? And she briefly touched on the lawsuit and she said that there was a filing that was going to come from her very soon. So we are going to start at that point in this video. So let's get into part 6. On November 30th, Katie tweeted out the following: "This week is going to be amazing. Happy Monday. How are you?" And somebody replied to her and said, "I thought you were taking a break." And she responded with, "Back to work. Hope you have an amazing day." So she was in a very good mood. The next day, on December 1st, she tweeted out, "Are going to drop soon. It's going to change everything." And people started questioning her, asking what she meant by that. And she responded with, "You will all learn soon enough." And then she followed up that tweet with, "None of the YouTube lawyers reporting on the lawsuit have gotten the complaint or case right. The YouTube lawyers are all focusing on the wrong issues, and this has created mass confusion for the viewers. I'm glad this case is being handled in court and not on YouTube." And I think this tweet is meant to shade Emily D. Baker because of all the drama that Katie has created with her. That same evening, Katie went on a live stream on her channel that was titled, "Will I Lose Everything?" This video has now been deleted off of her channel, but I was able to find some clips online. She started off the video by telling her subscribers that her channel would go back to normal very soon, and that her response to Tati and James was being filed the next day. So let's listen to what she has to say.
I just want to let you guys know that probably tomorrow, if not by Thursday, everything on this channel will be back to normal. I have had to work a lot of hours doing a lot of research, preparing for what's coming tomorrow. And I, along with my attorneys, have been like so hard, working so hard on all of this. And I just want to apologize to my subscribers that are not getting like the normal content that they deserve. I feel really badly about that. I have been trying my hardest to make sure that in the middle of doing a ton of research for this case and working with my attorney, I've also been trying to do like content at the same time. And it's been really challenging because every single day when I'm working. I'm, inundated with messages from my lawyer, having to provide different information. It's been a lot. We are almost at the end. So I'm really excited about that because I'm thinking tomorrow will be the day for all of the filings. I am looking forward to it. I just saw the first draft of everything.
So Katie stressed to everyone that her response to the Westbrooks lawsuit was taking a lot of time away from her channel and that she had spent so much time researching and helping her attorneys. She goes on to talk about channels that have been covering the lawsuit and that they have no idea what was actually coming from her side. She specifically focuses on channels that are attorneys, which I personally think she was only referring to one channel, and that was Emily D. Baker.
So the biggest thing, you guys, is that there's a lot of people that are reporting on this, and I totally get it. The attorneys that are on YouTube that are giving you the information about this and helping you form your opinions on this, they really haven't, from what I've seen, they don't have any idea what's going to be coming tomorrow. What you thought you knew versus what you actually know aren't going to be the same. Watching other YouTubers to get sort of an understanding about this case, please remember that the only people that really know what's happening are my attorney and then the attorneys involved with the other side. I think people will realize quickly once we file just why I haven't been super stressed out. I've been stressed out because of the reporting, but I understand that everyone has an interest in the story. But when we finally file everything, people are going to kind of get a better understanding of what is the laws. The people that are reporting on this, they're not focusing on the right things, and I think that's intentional. I think it's the way that the complaint was written, honestly. It's my opinion that the way the complaint was written, it was written in a biased way to make people believe that I had done things and that because of me, these things happened.
You guys, the stuff she says makes absolutely no sense half of the time. Of course, the lawsuit is going to be written to favor Tati and James and not Katie.
Tomorrow morning or tomorrow sometime is when everything's going to be filed and everyone will know. I thought it was going to be filed today, but not yet. We have literally been working. I have probably spent hundreds of hours on this. Once the filing goes out, once people get a better understanding of why I haven't been worried about the allegations. I mean, I've been worried because of what people are saying about me and how it's affected my reputation. But I'm hoping that with tomorrow's filing, it will give you guys a balance and an understanding of what the actual laws are, what the actual requirements are, and what the actual details behind all of this are, because we have a lot of information. We're presenting a lot of evidence. It's been a lot of work, a ton of work, but I'm feeling good. And I always think of it this way, is like, just because you don't like someone, just because you don't like someone, that doesn't mean that they're guilty of something. I'm just really, really glad that I have a good attorney.
The way Katie talked in this video, it seemed like that everybody was going to change their minds about their perspective on the lawsuit once she filed her response. And later that evening, Katie dropped a tweet that said, "I can't wait for tomorrow." The next morning on December 2nd, Katie tweeted out, "Love you all." And then she went on to say, "Thank you to all my subs that have been so loyal and stood up for me. I love you guys. Today is your day." And then later on that evening, Katie attached 3 pages to her response and tweeted out, "No comment." So let's get into this response and see if it changes everybody's perspectives. On December 2nd, 2020, Katie Joy finally filed her response to Tati Westbrook's lawsuit. Now, according to Katie, this response was going to be huge. It was going to change everybody's point of view on the entire situation. And it actually did the complete opposite of what she said. Now, this is actually a motion to dismiss, and it heavily focuses on Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson. Instead of focusing on the things that she did, she tried to shift blame to 2 other people, basically saying, well, if you're not suing them, then you're not allowed to sue me. And that's not how lawsuits work. So let's get into everything. So this is the introduction to the motion to dismiss. And this first part, I'm not going to read word for word, but if you want to pause to read it, you're more than welcome to. I'm going to give you a quick run through on this. So the highlighted part in blue basically starts off by saying who Tati and James are. She talks briefly about Halo and what kind of channel Tati has on YouTube. Then it goes on to say that the Westbrooks made a ton of money for the brands by attracting attention from the media and the public, and that most of the attention had been negative. Then in the yellow part, it goes on to talk about James Charles and Tati's uploaded by his sister and what Tati accused James Charles of. In red, it goes on to talk about Breaking My Silence and how Tati shifted the blame for by sister onto Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson, and that she warned Jeffree and Shane that litigation was going to be coming their way. One thing that is interesting, and Emily D. Baker brought this up, is that they spell Jeffree Star's last name with 2 R's a lot in this document instead of 1. Jeffree's name is only spelled with 1 R. The reason that this is so interesting is because the Swanson lawsuit against Tati, those legal documents also spelled Jeffree Star's name with 2 R's in certain places as well. This screenshot is from the Swanson suit, and the clip on the left, they spell it with 2 R's, and the clip that's on the bottom right, they only spell it with 1 R. And Katie's response is the same way. That is a huge similarity because anyone who knows who Jeffree Star is knows his name is only spelled with 1 R. So I found that interesting and wanted to point that out since there's been a lot of speculation that Katie and Clark Swanson are connected somehow. So anyways, back to the motion to dismiss. The purple highlight, she goes on to talk about criticism that Tati received for By Sister and Breaking My Silence. She focuses mainly on the criticism that PewDiePie gave Tati and that PewDiePie has over 100 million subs. So far, there is nothing relevant that is being said. She is just shifting blame to Jeffree and Shane, also pointing out that the biggest creator on YouTube criticized Tati, which I think she did that because once again, she is trying to shift blame onto other people and trying to show the court that she is a small channel that Tati unfairly targeted. But in my personal opinion, none of that matters. It doesn't change what Katie said about Tati. Now, this next part goes on to talk about the Swanson lawsuit and how Clark Swanson is suing Tati and James for $5 million. And I want to read a lot of this next part. Starting off with what's highlighted in green, it says, that lawsuit, the filing of which was first reported by defendants Catherine Paulson and her corporation Without a Crystal Ball, also received very wide coverage in both social media and mainstream media. It then goes on to say, just days after defendants broke the story of the Swanson lawsuit, plaintiffs filed this lawsuit against them in Seattle, presumably not by mere coincidence. They sued defendants for exactly the same amount as Mr. Swanson sued them, $5 million. And this is something that Emily keeps bringing up and I keep bringing up in my videos as well. Tati is not suing Katie for $5 million. It is a sum to be proven at trial, and I have shown that in multiple videos. And you would think Katie's lawyers would know that, but I don't think Katie's lawyers wrote this response. I think Katie did, but that's just my opinion. It then goes on to say they allege that defendants are responsible for the severe personal and business injuries that they have suffered during the period of Dramageddon 2 and Carmageddon simply by virtue of reporting related on those events. This suit is part of public relations stunt and part intimidation designed to divert attention from the real sources of plaintiffs' troubles and to chill further negative reporting on them. The most obvious indication of that intent is the Westbrooks' decision to only sue defendants with their relatively modest audience and not a very prominent, wealthy, and influential persons whom she, with her attorney's approval, publicly blamed for the very same injuries. It then goes on to say, putting aside patent silliness of plaintiff's attempt to blame a small YouTube channel located in Minnesota for their injuries, the complaint should be dismissed now for several reasons. First and most importantly, plaintiffs have come nowhere close to establishing that this court may exercise personal jurisdiction over two Minnesota defendants who have zero relevant contacts in the Washington state. And then it basically goes on to say that she thinks that Tati and James aren't being honest about when they moved to Seattle. So she's trying to get the complaint dismissed out of the Seattle court and maybe moved back to LA where they lived before. And then the other thing is basically she's blaming Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson, which again, I'm going to say one more time that it has nothing to do with what Katie said about Tati in those videos. Jeffree and Shane have nothing to do with that, so it's irrelevant, I would think. And then basically it goes into statement of facts, and I'm just going to read the headers on each one of these. So basically it says background events leading to plaintiff's filing of this lawsuit. Ms. Westbrook falsely accuses a young rival of misconduct to an audience of more than 47 million. And the next one says Ms. Westbrook tearfully blames two other rivals for her false accusations against Charles to an audience of more than 12.5 million. The next one says the Westbrooks' business partner sues them for fraud and malicious misconduct. And the next one says the Westbrooks sue defendants and no one else in Seattle for harm they previously claimed was caused by Star and Dawson and their Los Angeles-based conspiracy. And then the last part of this, it goes into jurisdiction. So she's basically saying that Tati isn't being truthful about when they moved to Seattle and that she has no subscribers in Seattle that she knows of. And it gets into like legal laws and emotional distress, stuff like that. And if you want more of a legal side to all of this, I highly suggest Emily Baker. I will link her video in the description box down below. But basically in this, Katie is saying that you can't sue me because you're not suing Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson. That's what I get out of this. And she also heavily points out that other creators, bigger creators, criticized Tati during this time. Like she stated PewDiePie, she also states Trisha Paytas. She links videos from all of these creators. So she's basically saying that there are larger creators that got a lot more views and Tati isn't suing them. So basically she's saying it's not fair that you're suing me if you're not suing all of these other people. That's what I get from this whole thing. And she's arguing about the location, which even if the location is taken into account and they dismiss this based on location alone, Tati can just go file the lawsuit in a different city and it would just start from square one. So I don't really understand why she's arguing that, but it might just be a legal defense that they're going for. Who knows? So the next thing I want to get into with what Katie filed, I want to get into the declaration from Katie and from her attorney where they are arguing about the location of where the lawsuit was filed. So we're going to start with Katie's first. One thing that's really funny about all these documents that Katie filed is she states over and over again that she was the one that broke the story with the Clark Swanson lawsuit against Tati. I just think that's funny that she repeated that over and over and over again. If you watched part one of this series, you know how obsessive she was when people weren't crediting her for getting the exclusive on the story. So I think it's funny that she keeps repeating it in this document. Anyways, so basically it says, I believe I was and have been credited by other YouTube commentators as being the first publicly report on Clark Swanson's October 20th, 2020 lawsuit filed against plaintiffs in this case on October 28th, 2020. And then it goes on to state that she is the owner of Without a Crystal Ball. And then it says, I am a citizen and resident of Minnesota. My company Without a Crystal Ball is incorporated and has its principal place of business in Minnesota. Other than a family vacation in or about 1990, I have never set foot in Washington State. To my knowledge, neither I nor Without a Crystal Ball has any sponsors or subscribers in Washington. To my knowledge, neither I nor Without a Crystal Ball derives any income from the state of Washington. And then it goes on to say, I did not conduct any research in Washington State or rely on any Washington residents as sources in relation to publications on which this lawsuit is based. I accessed all of the materials for these stories, which were public records in different states, not Washington, from Minnesota using the internet. I did not in any way target these publications at Washington State. My publications are aimed at a general national and international audience on the internet. My understanding was that Tati and James Westbrook resided in Los Angeles, California, at least until Ms. Westbrook publicly announced that she had moved to Seattle in December 2019. Even after that, however, Ms. Westbrook posted videos to YouTube that indicated that she had not moved to Seattle even by March of 2020. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and say it that that's a lie about her research because she accessed records from Seattle. She accessed records from Tati's birth certificate and her family members' birth certificates. So she accessed records in Seattle. So that's a lie. And once we get to Tati's response, we'll access those videos and take a look at them again. So next we're going to look at the declaration for Katie's attorney, and this basically shows a bunch of receipts of them trying to prove that Tati didn't move to Seattle before a certain period of time. So the second page states, below is a screenshot from Zillow.com showing that the Westbrooks purchased their Sherwin Oaks, California home in May of 2020 and listed it for sale in September of 2020. And below that is a screenshot of the Zillow listing of when it was purchased and sold, and I've redacted out the address information. The next screenshot states, below is a true and correct copy of August 18th, 2019 tweet posted by the Twitter account at GramLifeGuru, which is an account used by plaintiff Tati Westbrook. And the tweet reads, back in LA, excited to get home and snuggle with Puka, maybe? I don't know. I'm terrible at pronouncing names. The next page reads as, below is a true and correct copy of a November 7th, 2019 tweet posted to the Twitter account at GlamLifeGuru. And you guys probably can't read it because it's a really blurry screenshot, but basically it says, I'm out of town with family or I'd be there. I've been able to participate in this beautiful event throughout the years. If you're able to go, go. You won't regret it. You are an angel on earth, truly an amazing program, lead by amazing hearts. Good luck. So I guess this is basically trying to show that she was out of town and this Spirit Awakening group is in LA. So this next tweet was on November 7th, 2019, and it says, just had a major first, landed at SeaTac Airport, and I hear, Tati, I'm wearing your palette. This is the best feeling. Thanks to everyone supporting Tati Beauty. So I see what they're trying to do here. The last tweet showed that she was out of town, which usually when you say out of town, that means you're just not in your home area. And then this tweet is showing that she was in Seattle. So what they're basically trying to do is she's calling Seattle out of town. And you don't usually say that if you're going to the town you live in. So the next one is a tweet from December 9th, 2019, and it basically says, ready for the next chapter. So the next post is from Tati's Instagram account, and I think the date says December 15th, 2019. The screenshot is really blurry. The caption reads as, there's no place like home. Seattle, I'm back and here to stay. And the last one is a tweet from Tati's Twitter, and it's dated December 16th, 2019, and it says, where I go, he goes. Where he goes, I go. To clear up the confusion, I am not moving to Seattle without my husband. Package deal, guys. And finally, the last thing I want to show you guys, in the defendant's request for judicial notice, what Katie put in this was the Swanson lawsuit that was filed against Tati Westbrook. And the other thing she put in this is a very long list of videos, and I'm not going to show you guys each video. I will link them all in the description box down below. But basically, these videos are anywhere from by Sister, Breaking My Silence, Trisha Paytas's video that was called Tati Dumb as Hell, PewDiePie's videos, and that's basically what all of these videos are. So the evidence that Katie was referring to was videos on the internet surrounding By Sister and the tweets and Instagram posts of Tati stating that she was in Seattle at a certain period of time. And that was her evidence. There was nothing mentioned in response to the actual lawsuit that Tati had filed. There was nothing she responded to, which is very strange. And I'm talking about the 60 videos and the tweets that Katie put out. She didn't respond to any of that at all, period. It's weird. But I have a little speculation what I think she's actually doing. I think she mentioned all of this in this response to purposely piss Tati off, because this is such a big story and it's being covered on so many channels. I think she mentioned all of this so that all of the drama channels would get talking about this stuff again. I don't know. It's just me speculating. I don't think that's a smart idea because you want to respond to the actual things that are in the lawsuit. But knowing the way Katie thinks, and she thinks she did nothing wrong, I just think that this was a tactic just to piss Tati off and to get people talking about By Sister and Breaking My Silence again. I could be wrong. But that's just what it seems like to me. And to get talking about the Swanson lawsuit some more. But that's just my personal opinion. To me, it's just not smart at all. But I'm not an attorney. I don't know much about the law. So Maybe it's a smart move, who knows? But given the circumstances of the way she talked before this came out, I would be very, very embarrassed by this filing if I were her. So after all of this stuff was filed, that same day, Katie ended up resharing the video that she broke the Swanson lawsuit against Tati Westbrook. And I gotta tell you, this takes a lot of guts to do something like this. I don't understand what goes through her brain at times, but again, I think she is just trying to piss off the other side intentionally. And then the next day, after everybody was able to read the response, she tweeted out on December 3rd, "You might not understand something right now, but one day you will." I guess we will just have to wait and see. I guess this is a tactic they are using, even though everyone doesn't really understand. I guess one day we will understand, according to Katie. On December 6th, Katie tweeted out the following: "I am separating my content related to reality television and commentary from my personal content. I made a lot of mistakes in November, one being bringing personal drama to my channel. If you want more personal content, subscribe to this channel." And Katie was getting a lot of backlash from her subscribers because she was constantly bringing her personal drama onto the channel, so she decided to take it to her second channel. And then later that day, she put out a tweet that said, "One creator that I lashed out at did not deserve it. Emily Baker, I apologize for my comments weeks ago. They weren't appropriate, unprofessional, and uncalled for. I wish you the best on your channel. Also, everything with the case will make sense in the future." Then somebody responded to Katie and they said, "How can you expect us to take you seriously when you make an apology, when we know you're going to do something else problematic that you'll have to apologize for in a couple of weeks, like clockwork?" And then Katie responded and said, "Thanks so much for your feedback. You don't have to take me seriously, but this apology is sincere." And then the last tweet I want to read to you guys that I found interesting, she said on December 6th, the same day she put out all these other tweets, "I do not support my subscribers attacking, harassing, or mass reporting creators that criticize me. Any reporting I did in the past will not be repeated." So while we're talking about this tweet right here, Katie did a live stream either later that evening or the next day, and she talked about this more. And this kind of goes into my other video, part 5, where we talked about all the privacy claims that she put on other people's channels. Roll the clip.
And some by mistake. Yes. Will that happen in the future? No. I don't want to ever be a creator that would ever any sort of reporting system. And so I'm just going to continue to allow creators to say what they want to say and have their opinions. At the end of the day, I can only control my reaction. So if you are reporting on me, that's totally fine. I wish I could speak about so many things. I just can't. I wish I could like scream from the rooftops, but I can't. So, but I do want to be clear that I have zero intentions of striking any channels. I have zero intentions of reporting. I even put a tweet out at the request of someone in my last live to say, I don't support anyone going after. I don't have any active copyright strikes that I know of. The only ones that I have right now were related to people that uploaded my content without any commentary. So YouTube, the only active ones that I went into my channel and saw those, and the only active copyright strikes that I saw were related to ones where people just took my uploads and re-uploaded them without my permission, didn't provide any transformative content. There were no copyright strikes in there for people for like small clips or anything like that I could see at all. Nothing.
I wanted to play this for you guys because it plays off my last video and all the false like privacy claims she put on other channels, and she's obviously lying about all of this, and why she's lying I don't really understand, because even in her Am I Okay video she openly admits to the privacy claims, but she did lie about what kind of privacy claims they were. If you watched videos from SLUETH or Unirock and some other channels, they had to change their videos completely because of the claims that Katie was putting on their channels, especially SLUETH. She had to remove each time she said Katie. The amount of lies that comes out of Katie's mouth is literally unreal. But anyways, moving on. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is a couple of things that Katie put on her Instagram stories on or around December 11th, I think it was. And what she said, and this kind of plays into the last video I did, she said, I can unapologetically say now is I'm not apologizing anymore for being me. I'm quirky, funny, snarky, awkward, impulsive, dramatic, mouthy, kind, loving, too trusting, and I care way too much about making everyone happy. I can't live like that anymore. I'm not going to change myself to make others happy. I'm not apologizing when I'm not wrong. I'm done caring what people think, and I'm going to get back to being me. I wouldn't tell you not to be you, so don't expect me to not be me. I'm going to react, respond, and speak my mind. I've lost myself this month trying to appease everyone, and I'm done being lost. And then about an hour and a half later, she posts an apology about the Sophie Long story where she called her a brat. And this is what she had to say. Subscribers and viewers, regarding calling a girl a brat and my coverage of Sophie. In a live stream a few months ago, I was speaking about a public case of a little girl named Sophie that involved alleged SA. Never should I have talked about this topic in such an irresponsible way. It is not my place to dissect the video or try to make sense of what I was seeing. I repeated a comment that called her bratty, and then I spoke about it. I never should have repeated that, insinuating a child is a brat that may be a victim of SA. It was wrong. It goes against everything I believe about believing victims. I have since privated my videos on the topic and donated all the AdSense to the Center for Missing and Children. I'm sorry for upsetting any victims of SA. I know it must have been triggering for you to see this, and I don't blame you for being upset with me. I deserve the hate. Moving forward, I have no intention of covering cases like this. I won't stop speaking up for children, but I also will be more careful in my coverage. I'm sorry, Sophie and her family, for the statement. I believe she is a victim, needs support and privacy, which is why I will not cover her story any further, and I haven't since October. Again, I truly apologize for this live stream, for the statement, and for triggering any of you that are. If you're a victim of SA, know that I see you, believe you, and this community is here for you. Thanks, Katie. This aggravates me so much because I covered what Katie did to the Sophie Long story, and until Creepshow Art posted a video about it and called her out for saying what she did about the child. And in that video, Creepshow didn't really know the in-depth involvement that Katie went to with this story. And I just feel like now, after all this time, after many times of her denying that she ever called her fear bratty, she's just doing this to try to get people to forgive her because she's under a lot of heat. She really turned that story upside down. She created chaos, and the child didn't deserve it at all. Anyways, it just aggravates me, and I just don't see this apology as being sincere, but I'm glad she took some accountability, even though she didn't take all accountability. Now, we're going to fast forward to December 15th, and the court put in place a motion to preserve evidence, and I want to read those court filings with you guys right now. So basically, the first page talks about everything we went over in a different video, but basically, Katie was destroying a bunch of evidence, and Tati's legal team filed a motion to preserve evidence, and this is just kind of recapping all of that. So the next page is the actual order. We're going to start with line 1, and it says, Defendants Katie Joy and Without a Crystal Ball are hereby ordered to preserve all published content within their custody or control that they know or have reason to know is either relevant to this matter or could reasonably be expected to lead to the discovery of relevant information in this matter, including without limitation. Social media content on any internet platform, including but not limited to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, and YouTube, videos, all live chats and streams, including live videos on Instagram stories, comments on social media posts and videos. And it goes on to say on line 2.A, direct or instant messages sent or received by defendants and emails, text messages, and phone messages, or any other form of recorded communication sent or received by defendants. Defendants' failure to comply with this order may be subject to defendants to sanctions, including sanctions for civil contempt. And then at the bottom, it has the judge's signature and the date, which is December 15th, 2020. Now, I will say for a couple weeks, Katie really kept her cool with things and she didn't get into a lot of drama. So we are going to fast forward to Tati's response. On December 23rd, 2020, Tati's side filed a response to Katie's motion to dismiss. And let me tell you, this is one hell of a response, and it is really long. There's a lot that goes into it, so I'm just going to try to pick out the high points, and we're going to go through as much as we can. Okay, so let's get into it. I'm not going to read this entire page, but this is basically the introduction and relief that's requested. I do want to read this first paragraph, and it says, over the past 19 months, defendants Katie Joy Paulson and Without a Crystal Ball have engaged in a course of conduct specifically aimed at harassing plaintiffs Tati and James Westbrook and Halo Beauty Partners through defendants' social media communications, including publishing defamatory statements about plaintiffs in at least 80 YouTube and Instagram videos and in more than 100 postings on Twitter and other locations on the internet. This case arises out of these widespread incidences of defamation and ongoing campaign of harassment defendants have waged against plaintiffs. And then the rest of it basically says that everything that Katie put in her motion to dismiss, like the stuff that had to do with Jeffree Star, Sister, James Charles, PewDiePie, Trisha Paytas, all of that stuff, it's irrelevant to the actual lawsuit. And they're basically saying that Katie failed to present any relevant evidence to go against the lawsuit that Tati and James filed against her. It was all irrelevant information, basically. And they also said that the jurisdiction, that the evidence that her and her attorney submitted was irrelevant to even prove that they lived here or there. Basically, Tati can just show property deeds and tax information and her driver's license and stuff like that. Tweets and stuff like that, that's not relevant evidence to back up your claims that they lived here or there. That's just my personal opinion. And Tati had said in Breaking My Silence that she was actually living in Seattle the whole time and she bulk filmed a bunch of videos and left town. So it's stated in Breaking My Silence that she was trying to play it off that she was in LA when she was actually in Seattle. So that's on video evidence of her saying that. So that's easy to prove for Tati on whether or not she had been living in Seattle at a certain time or not. That's just me thinking out loud from what I know and what I've seen with Tati and just common sense. So I guess when you're filing motions to dismiss, you have to state what rule you're in the document, and Katie failed to do that. I don't know much about the rule, but I'm just going off of what Emily Baker said because she was saying it doesn't state which rule it's in. It's a big no-no not to put the rule in there. So Salty also mentions that in this document. So what I actually want to read is the statement of relevant facts on this page, and it says, point A, defendants Katie Joy Paulson's and Without a Crystal Ball's content about plaintiffs demonstrate forum contacts. So what this says is that defendants Paulson and Without a Crystal Ball announced their campaign of harassment against Tati and their plan to dig into her background and expose her in a video uploaded to YouTube on or about May 31st, 2019. In that video, defendants state that they were digging into Tati's background and looked all over the place, everywhere. Defendants also reference civil judgments and tax liens that they found. Defendants then go on to indicate that they conducted more in-depth searches than a simple background check. Defendants also state that people can actually go state to state and try to pull up stuff, and that people go to the different databases within each state to find information, which defendants admit is what they did to get the personal information regarding Tati and her family. Defendants also assert that Tati's address is online too, but defendants were not going to provide that. Defendants further state that they continue digging through more and more information, going through marriage records, birth certificates, specifically asserting it was weird that they could not find Tati's birth certificate. Tati was born in Washington. Defendants then go on to discuss the extensive public records and social media pages they searched regarding Tati's parents, Washington residents, and her two sisters, one's a Washington resident, lamenting about how they could not find information regarding Tati's father, which led defendants to theorize that Tati's father was either dead or in the mafia. So you know what, just for shits and giggles, let's pull up this video and watch that clip really fast and see how it lines up with this response.
So all day long, I was doing research, you guys. Research, I tell you. Remember how I told you I was going to try to do something where I exposed Tati Westbrook? So when I started digging into her background, and I have looked all over the place, you guys, everywhere. I initially pulled up their information on a site called Truth Finder, which is just a regular, it's a very basic background check. It doesn't have everything, and it really is very basic. It'll pull up some stuff, but you can actually go state to state and try to pull stuff up as well. So I pulled it up, you guys, and I found all of those tax liens. she was only able to clean off one of the sites because not all of the sites have been scrubbed. And so the information is still out there. Plus, you can still go on to the different databases within each of the states to find the information. Again, all of this is public record. So maybe she doesn't want people to know what her real name is. Maybe she doesn't want people to know her address, but her address is online too. So and I'm not going to provide that in any of that information. That's, I don't do that kind of stuff, but it's bizarre to me that she would scrub all of that. Then I started playing around even more and digging through more and more information, going through marriage records and through birth certificates. I couldn't even find her birth certificate, which is weird. Her parents got married in 1976, and then they had her sister, and they had in 1978, and then so her sister's the same age as me. Then they had Tati in 1982, and then they had her twin sisters, I don't know, a couple years later. But the crazy thing is that, so I'm like digging through, and it's crazy, you guys. Like, there's like 0 records of her father, like 0 records. So then I start going on, and I'm like getting into this conspiracy, thinking like her dad is dead, or like why doesn't her dad have a job, or her dad's in the mafia. I mean, my conspiracy mind was going wild, and I was trying not to even go there.
I know you guys have seen this video a million times, but it's very interesting to actually compare what is written in the legal document, comparing it to the video that's being referenced in that document. So let's get back into the response. There's a lot to get through. With this next page, I'm not going to read the whole thing. There's another video that's titled "The Past James and Tati Westbrook Don't Want You to Know." But this is basically to prove a point that she did searches that were in Washington, and that she basically lied in her motion to dismiss, because she openly admits in multiple videos that she was doing searches in the state of Washington. Now, this next part is basically showing that Katie does have viewers that are in Washington. Now, there is other information that is in other documents that were filed that I'm going to heavily focus on, so I'm going to skip forward through this as well. But you guys are more than welcome to pause to read if you want to. This next part focuses on when Tati and James moved to Seattle and everything surrounding that. So you can pause to read that. There's more details about this in the other document, so I'm going to skip forward on this as well. I'm pretty much done going through this document because the rest of the document is literally tearing Katie's side to shreds. And there's other documents that were filed with evidence that I want to go through. But I will leave a link to a Twitter account that has all of these files on their Twitter. It's in the pinned tweet, and you're more than welcome to go look at it if you feel like it. Now here's where things get a lot more interesting. We're getting into the receipts, and we're going to start with Tati's declaration. Her husband, James, also has a declaration, and it's a lot longer, and he has a lot more receipts. So we're going to go ahead and get into Tati's first. So we are going to start with line 2, and it says, "I am a resident of the state of Washington. I was born in Washington. My personal bank accounts are all located in Washington. I own investment property in Washington. Almost all of my businesses and their bank accounts, including Tati Inc., Tati Halo, and Tati Cosmetics, are all incorporated in Washington. I do not own any property in California." Point 3 basically states that she's the owner of Halo and that it's located in Washington. And then on point 4, it says, "Part of my business entails critiquing beauty products and posting those critiques on social media platforms, including YouTube. I have over 9 million subscribers on YouTube and approximately 2.5 million followers on Instagram and approximately 1.3 million followers on my Twitter. I do not manage my social media accounts on my own. Over the years, many of my social media posts have been created by others, including various social media assistants." And then it goes on to say, "Because I have so many followers, I am highly recognizable. For my personal safety, I do not want the general public to know where I am at all times. As part of my work as a social media influencer, I travel around the world and post pictures at worldwide locations. However, I often post videos and pictures at random times when I am not at a location so that people do not know where I am or where I live." So this is basically trying to debunk what Katie said about Tati not living in Washington. And that basically a social media post that they put in their declaration is irrelevant because they have people that post on their behalf. And they also tell the public that they are in different locations so the public doesn't know where they are at all times. Now the next page goes into more of that. Point 6, it basically states that Tati was born in Washington. And then on line 7, it says, "For a period of time, my husband, James Westbrook, and I lived in California, but I started to move to Washington in late October 2018. Signed a lease agreement for our new home in November 2018 and officially took possession of our new home on December 1st, 2018. Attached to the declaration of James Westbrook is Exhibit 1, is a true and correct copy of a redacted version of our current lease agreement in our home in Washington, including the extension on the lease through March of 2021. My husband and I also file our federal taxes in the state of Washington, and I can provide a copy of our tax returns for the court's review. And then attached right here on the right, it says from February 18th, 2019. This is from my Instagram account at Glam Life Guru. The picture in the Instagram post was taken of me in Washington residence, as is demonstrated in the picture. This is one of my many social media posts and pictures that I obviously did not take myself. The next part of this is talking about that Sephora arrived at my house, which we already watched the video on, so I'm just going to skip past this, but you can pause to read it if you want. And the last page of this is talking about a video that Katie posted onto her channel that is titled "The Past James and Tati Westbrook Don't Want You to Know." And we are going to watch the clips from this video. And Tati said that the video was posted on or about June 2nd, 2019. And it says, starting out approximately 3 minutes into the video, the person that I know to be Katie Joy Paulson begins discussing defendant's investigation into me and my husband. So we are going to watch that part first.
I can only tell you that the content of what I'll be sharing with you is all derived from court records, and there are a lot of court records in this case. I have put together a timeline of James and Tati Westbrook because they're sort of at the center of this whole story.
So that was the part that was about 3 minutes in. So I'm guessing that's what they are referring to. And then she goes on to say, starting at approximately 13 minutes into the video, defendants talk about the research that they have done into my childhood and family in Washington. Defendants discuss my sisters, my mother, all whom are private citizens. They also discuss my personal history in Washington. So we're going to watch that clip now.
So Tati makes her first appearance. Now, Tati grew up in Washington, and her mother actually was her talent agent for her and her sisters. Tati and her family moved around a lot. Her parents were married, but there's not a lot of... Her father is very much out of the picture. There's no work history I can find for him. Her mother has multiple different companies to work as a talent agent. She doesn't really have many clients beyond Tati and her sisters, Erica and Sabrina, who are twins. The family during Tati's childhood, they move around a lot. There are a lot of financial issues with her parents, lots of judgments, lots of tax issues. Just a lot of showing that maybe they didn't grow up with a lot of money and couldn't afford to pay stuff, that kind of stuff. Nothing really looked all that shady from that standpoint. They were trying to make it in the show business. Okay.
Okay, so then it goes on to say at approximately 55 minutes into the video, defendants also state that they have documentation for all the information in the video, including court records from Washington State. They also found through 3 weeks of nonstop research to find all this information. And then we're going to also go in at 56 minutes into the video where Tati said defendants thank their viewers for sticking with them in their 2-part expose, and if they cover more information, they will deliver it to their viewers. So we're going to look for both parts in the clip, and I'm going to put this actually up on the screen since there's stuff that is quoted.
All of this information came from court records from Hawaii, California, South Carolina, North Carolina, Washington State, and Georgia. This expose on Tati has been 3 weeks of research, of non-stop research, in order for me to find all of this information. And I want you to know how hard I work on all of this, okay? All right, you guys, I thank you so much for sticking with me in my 2-part expose. If I do uncover more information, I promise I will deliver it to you. I've already been warned that I might get attacked by multiple people, and I'm prepared for that.
Okay, so now that is all of Tati's declaration, and now we're going to get into James's, and his is really juicy. There are so many receipts in this one. They did such a good job with this. So this is James Westbrook's declaration, and on page 1, I'm not going to read all of this, but everything highlighted in green is basically what we just read in Tati's declaration. It talks about how they live in Seattle, how they used to live in California. They talk about the businesses, stuff like that. And then at the bottom there, highlighted in blue, it says, I'm a Chief Operating Officer of Halo Beauty Partners, LLC. I have also managed the business end of my wife's YouTube channel for the past 10 years, which is called Glam Life Guru. And it says she has over 9 million subscribers. And then it says he has personal knowledge on how YouTube monetizes channels. And then he goes into the different ways that a YouTube channel can generate income. And he said sponsorships, affiliate commissions, merchandise, AdSense, members, subscriptions, super chats, lucrative sponsorships, and affiliate commissions. So after that, he says for smaller channels such as defendants channels without a crystal ball, income is generally derived from the latter 4 methods. And then he goes on to describe each of them. The first one is merchandise, and he took a screenshot from a t-shirt in Katie's store, which is really funny because he picked the one that says, "It's just facts." I think that's a little shade there. And then he goes into AdSense revenue, and then he goes on to talk about memberships and how people can join YouTube channels for a monthly price. And then he goes on to say YouTube channel owners can easily see in analytics where their subscribers and other viewers of content on a YouTube channel are located by country and even by state. Furthermore, a YouTube channel owner can drill down their analytics to break down viewers by geographic location, gender, and age, meaning that a YouTube channel owner can, if they choose to, easily see how many females between the ages of 18 and 45 that live in a state such as Washington have viewed any particular video on a YouTube channel. And then it gives an example. On August 30th, 2020, Without a Crystal Ball went on a live stream that was titled, Sister Wives Mary and Christine Brown's Business Might Go Bust. A viewer from Washington said hello in the chat, and the person I know to be Katie Joy Paulson at approximately 1 minute and 20 seconds into the video said hello to Patricia from Washington. And we are going to watch that clip right now because they have linked the video.
In their very, very long complaint, which you can actually find linked onto Bob Ferguson's Twitter account. So if you go to his Twitter, the very top tweet is related to this case. Hi, Pam, Patricia from the state of Washington. Yes. So
what this is showing is that Katie acknowledged a viewer that was from Tati's state, and in Katie's declaration, she said she has no subscribers that she knows of in Washington state, and this video proves otherwise. And also, as you can see in this screenshot right here, they got a screenshot of the chat where the Patricia person says, "Hi from Washington state." I can't tell you how many videos they had to have watched to find this. It's literally insane that they did. Oh, but that's not all. They have more than that. Here is another screenshot of somebody saying hello from Seattle. And this one is from a video that was on September 5th, 2020. And then there's another one that says hi from Seattle. This is from a video that was uploaded on August 23rd, 2020. So this is literally insane how they found these chat messages. I can't tell you how many hours somebody must have sat there looking at the chat, looking at videos to find this. It's very, very, very impressive. Now, this next part goes into how Katie can earn super chats and stuff like that. And then it also says below that on line 11, defendants have made a practice of stirring up salacious drama with the sole purpose of driving clicks and follows. The more dramatic, the more interesting, the more people subscribe. And then he goes on to say, I have observed the defendants go live sometimes several times in a day. Just recently, defendants live streamed 7 videos in a single day, some of which were over an hour. It is my opinion that the purpose of those live stream videos is in part to get people to become members of defendants' community and in part to make more money through her lucrative super chat donation. And then he goes on to state, I have personally seen a person I know to be Katie Joy state in a video uploaded to defendant's YouTube channel on November 25th, 2020, named Update on the Lawsuit, responding to criticism, how to give back. And the defendant stated, quote, not everything we say as content creators is true. So we are going to listen to that clip right now and see what she actually says.
Thank you for helping people see me. Not everything we say as content creators is true, or it's typically our opinions. So, you know, people like to people really like to get together to hate on people, and I don't want to do that anymore.
That is a very interesting statement. So the next thing that we're going to get into is another video that they got on here. And he says, I have also personally seen a person that I know to be Katie Joy state in a video uploaded to defendant's YouTube channel on December 18th, 2020, named "Things have truly gone too far." And the quote that they're saying in this video is, there is a lot of stuff that's been put out by me that's just flat out lies, and it's for views. Now, I seen this clip circulating around the internet before I read this part of this response, and there's a lot of speculation that she didn't mean to say what she said. So we're going to listen to the entire clip to see what we think about it. So let's get into it.
Like, if this happened to your channel, and this is my other call to other, some of these smaller channels, like, you might be gaining views on all of these stories, which is fantastic. Like, I want your channels to grow. But my caution to you is, what I didn't know going into this is, once you get bigger, this kind of stuff can and will happen to you. So just because you're sort of in the safe little bubble right now, no one is immune to this. So just be mindful, all of us, of like the kind of stuff we're putting out. Like, I have never advocated for anyone to report anyone or do anything like this. And I want my community to just get back to being a community. I want the hate to stop. I want the hate messages to stop. Like, if you don't like me, that's fine. I'm not going to have a physical, mental breakdown. I'm not going to spiral. I've actually been very calm the last few weeks, and I'm still going to remain calm. And at some point, just realize there's a lot of stuff that's been put out by me that's just flat out lies, and it's for views. There is some actual stuff out there that I listened to, received, and have completely changed my tone, my presentation, and everything, because I understand the mistakes I've made.
Okay, to be totally fair, I think this was a slip of the tongue. I think she meant to say the videos that other creators are putting out about her are just flat out lies about her. I don't think she meant to say what it's coming off to be, but that's just my personal opinion. So moving on, the next part of this goes into talking about the videos that Katie had posted about the Westbrooks and her article, Twitter posting, stuff like that. And they list all the videos and stuff like that again. But there is a note at the bottom of one of these pages that I want to get into, and it references a video. And it says that this video was uploaded 2 days before the filing of the Swanson suit. At approximately 28 minutes into the video, Ms. Paulson stated that my wife and I were never going to sue her, and if we are going to sue her, we would have done so already. And then they provided a copy of the actual video. So I want to watch this clip real fast.
No, I'm not worried they're going to sue me, because all of this stuff is public record. And like, some of the stuff that I'm saying are like what my opinions are of everything. So that's why they've never sued me at all, because it's all public record. It's all public record. You can't, like, public records are public records.
Jeez, she really thought they weren't going to sue her. I just can't believe she really had no care in the world that they were going to sue her. Anyways, moving on, there's a couple more things in James Westbrook's paperwork that I want to get into. The first thing I want to get into is this. I have reviewed Ms. Paulson's declaration submitted in conjunction with defendant's motion to dismiss. Upon review, based on my general knowledge regarding the business of social media and my specific review of Ms. Paulson's videos, Ms. Paulson's declaration appears to contain several untrue statements. One of the statements that I believe to be untrue is that defendants have no employees. I personally recall viewing a video where Ms. Paulson stated that her husband was an employee of defendants, and another video where her moderator, Jessie Bear, stated that she had the, quote, best employer ever. And attached, they put a screenshot of it. And as you can see, there's Jessie Bear in the chat saying that she has the best employer ever. And it's not a surprise there are untrue statements in Katie's declaration. The last thing I want to get into is that they stated defendants were intentionally biased in their coverage of stories regarding me and my wife because of their intense dislike for us and belief that we do not belong in any community. And then they attached a tweet that was put out by Katie on October 30th, 2020, and it said, I was biased about Tati because I've done months of research on this story, and her husband is a damn fraud. You shouldn't want frauds in the community, my opinion. Man, she digs her own holes so much. She doesn't know when to be quiet about stuff. There is so much footage of her contradicting herself. This is just not a good situation for her whatsoever. Okay, so that's everything with James's declaration. The next thing I just want to run through really quick is that Tati got a former supporter of hers to do a declaration in support of plaintiffs. And basically, this supporter says that she was a fan of Tati and she loved Halo. And she came across Katie's channel and started supporting Katie. The allegations where James took his mother off of oxygen just to get an inheritance, she stopped supporting Halo because of Katie. And because of the research that Katie portrayed, she believed that Katie's statements were true regarding James and his mother. So she stopped supporting Tati, she stopped buying Halo, and she also said that she is aware of Carmageddon and Dramageddon, and if it were just those things that had happened with Tati, she still would have supported her. It was ultimately Katie's statements that made this person not support Tati anymore because she believed that Katie was telling the truth. So a statement like this is very huge with the court because it shows that Katie ultimately did affect Tati and her business. And they also had another declaration from a different person that basically said the same thing. I'm not going to put it in the video, but again, I'll put a link in the description box to where you can find all these court documents if you want to read through these yourself. All right, you guys, we are near the end of this video, but there's one more document I want to go through real fast, and it's a declaration of a former moderator of Katie's. Now, I have redacted out all the info. I just don't feel comfortable mentioning the names that are in this document. So that's why you're going to see a lot of black bars everywhere. But this document is a declaration of a former moderator for Katie, and it's in favor of the plaintiffs, Tati and James. And so basically this is what it says. I was a moderator for the live stream of one of Katie Joy Paulson's YouTube channels, Without a Crystal Ball, from July to August of 2019. And then it goes on to say, I became a moderator for Miss Paulson after being a subscriber of her YouTube channel for about a month starting around June of 2019. I reached out to Miss Paulson for help moderating her YouTube livestream after I had interacted with her as a subscriber. She had asked for volunteers on her channel. Part of my duties as a moderator was to delete negative comments written regarding Miss Paulson in livestream chat boxes. In or around August 2019, I had a falling out with Miss Paulson and she blocked me as a moderator. After I stopped moderating for Miss Paulson, another subscriber and supporter of Miss Paulson's YouTube channel, who I know as Lori, and I'm just going to refer to her as Lori in this declaration, threatened multiple individuals, including myself, with violence on Twitter, specifically because of my falling out with Miss Paulson. Lori made threats against me and threatened to have me murdered by a biker gang. Below are actual screenshots from May of 2020 that I obtained from my Twitter account that contained Miss Lori's public threat of violence against myself and others. So attached are a couple tweets, and it says, I have Facebook friends that are also Twitter friends who can verify who I am and who my family is. So if he thinks he can continue harassing me, they're my family, will protect me, and they are all over the US. And this is a tweet from the Lori person. And then on the right side, it says, please share if you feel inclined to do so. I myself, along with several others, have been targeted by these people for defending Katie. I've made it clear that if they continue to harass me, they will have consequences one way or another. And again, both of these tweets are from the Lori person that they are referencing. And then here is another message from Lori. It says, Michelle, is Kim from Unveiling the Mask. I will give anyone my address. Come for me. I have relatives that have spent time in prison who protect their own and are not afraid of going back to prison. I know who the people are behind this hate campaign. Yeah, so pretty crazy, huh? And then it goes on to say, after receiving the I personally conducted an investigation and determined that Miss Lori is a resident of the state of Washington and that she works for the Office of Secretary of Transportation for the state of Washington. Here is a link to the Washington Office of Secretary of Transportation. And then there was an attached document that showed her name, but I'm not going to put it in this video. And then it went on to say, I have observed tweets from Without a Crystal Ball Twitter page, which I am informed by Miss Paulson herself that she operates. In certain tweets, Miss Paulson has interacted with Miss Lori and vice versa. In one tweet, Miss Paulson refers to the account that I believe belongs to Miss Lori as one of her fiercest and loyalist supporters. Below are some screenshots of tweets that I obtained from my Twitter account, and it says, "You're amazing, Katie. Such a strong person. I want to be like you when I grow up, even though I'm older than you. LOL." And then Katie responded to this Lori person and said, "My fiercest and loyalist next to," and then she added somebody, but I redacted out that information. And this was on July 9th, 2020, so it was fairly recent. So the tweets that are on the left that I'm getting ready to read are from this Lori person, and it says, "And Katie, please know you have 74,000 supporters who we love you and your content. Thank you for being the bigger person in this and always taking a stand for the victim." And he is still at it, trying to send his troll army after someone else. This is why victims don't speak out. And then Katie responded with, "Lori is a real person and you've targeted her, causing her extreme and unwanted harassment. My attorney sent you a letter yesterday explaining each ethics violations you are violating with this Twitter spectacle and further requested you cease with contact with me. Stop." And this was on November 6, 2020. And then on the right side, it says, "I have also obtained screenshots of other tweets from Lori Twitter page," and then it says the @ "Miss Lori publicly displays her support of Miss Paulson in her page description and in her tweets." In a screenshot of one of the tweets from June 20th, 2020, Miss Lori defends Miss Paulson against internet trolls, a subset of people that harass others on the internet. And then as you can see in the profile shot that it says Fatter Cristobal, 111K subscribers. And then below it says, "Yes, the stupid, worthless trolls that harass Katie need to get a life." And then basically this page is showing a video of Katie's, and Katie opened up her Twitter page on a live stream where she saw like messages from this Lori person that Katie was direct messaging with her. So this is just a screenshot of that, and it's giving like the video name and timestamp and all that good stuff. But in that bottom right screenshot, all the way at the bottom right corner, you can see the person's name. And then lastly, it ends with, "In addition to Miss Lori making threats involving violence, I was disturbed to discover in my investigation of Miss Lori that she had criminal charges involving acts of violence filed against her in the state of Washington. Based upon this discovery and the prior threats that Miss Lori made against me personally, I have been and continue to be in reasonable fear for me and my family's personal safety from both Miss Lori and Miss Paulson, as it is my personal observation that Miss Paulson intentionally instructs, encourages, and condones Miss Lori's harassment and intimidations of Miss Paulson's perceived enemies. Attached as an exhibit is a true correct copy of the redacted charging documents against Lori 2012 obtained from the Superior Court of Washington, which are publicly available on the court's website." And it attached the actual sheet, but I'm not going to put it in this video. But yeah, this is absolutely insane to me. I was literally shook when I read this originally. I knew Katie went to a severe level with things, but I didn't realize she had people doing this kind of stuff for her. So it's very, very, very messed up. It's very messed up to me. And I apologize for all the censoring of words when I was reading everything, but I'm really trying hard not to get demonetized. 2 of my videos that I've made in this series have gotten demonetized over the stupidest things. So I was being extra careful due to the nature of what was being said in these documents, but you're more than welcome to pause to read it. And again, like I've said a million times in this video, I will link the court documents where you can find them in the description below. So you guys, we have made it to the end of this video. So I'm really glad that I was able to get through both Tati's response and Katie's response. I didn't get through everything I wanted to. There's some newer filings that have come out in the past couple weeks that I didn't get to. So that'll be continued into another video. This series will probably go for a while because this lawsuit's going to go for a while. So stay tuned for more uploads regarding this series. But in summary, I just think that Katie's motion to dismiss just went horribly wrong. I don't really understand why she thought it was going to go a completely different way. But I can tell that Tati isn't having it and Tati isn't backing down. And if it were me personally, if I were Katie, I would learn to just keep my mouth shut, because she's doing more harm than good at this point, because she just won't stop talking about everything. And it's really, really backfiring on her. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, and share. And I would love to know your thoughts on the entire situation. Comment down below what you think of everything. And before I go, I want to give a quick shout out to all my new members, all my members actually, because these are all the new people that have joined. I do have memberships to my channel now, so if you are interested in that, it is linked in the description box down below. But I want to give a shout out to GingerSnap222, Leah Philbin, Crystal, Maxine, March Shani, I'm sorry, I'm really bad with names, Tina Colry, Barry Readable, and Susan. Thank you so much to all of you for being members. I appreciate you all so, so much, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.